Hello everyone, myself Ritesh. I have 5 years of experience into data engineering and data analytics field. My key skills or key expertise are Power BI for reporting purpose, the database that is SQL, and I have also have expertise into Azure Cloud, which includes ETL that is Azure Data Factory, ADLS, Logic Apps, and Databricks. I've been working for multiple MNCs since last 5 years. I've worked for retail, I've worked for automobile, and I've also worked for cloud and technological domains.
Hey everyone, in this video we are going to learn about what is linked service in ADF, how to create a linked service, what is dataset and how to create a dataset. So for every transformation, for every pipeline activity in ADF, we need to create a dataset. Uh, for that dataset, we need to have a link service. So what exactly the dataset and link service are and how they do differ between each other and how can we create a pipeline. We will create a basic link service, we'll create a basic data set. With help of that, we'll create a basic copy activity. So you will get an idea how an ADF works, how the ETL process works. I mean, the extraction of data, transformation of data, and loading of data. In this video, we are not going to do any particular transformation, just to extract and load the data to get an idea how an ADF works. So what exactly a link service is? A link service defines the connection to the data source. I mean, it's like a connection string which defines the connection, where from which data source you are connecting, and we need to pass a key. So just in order to connect that data source from the ADF instance, we need to pass a key. So link service is the one which passes that key, which stores that key, and it gets the data. And what exactly a data set is? A data set is the representation of data. I mean, it represents the data structure which stores the data. So for every ADF, for every activity, we create a data set which stores the data from, with the help of link connection. It gets the data from the source and it stores the data. This is how it works. I mean, it stores the data as per the ADF request. So whatever data you want, it represents. I mean, a type of cache. It represents the table structure. It takes the data. The table structure from the data source, and it stores the data with the help of link service connection. So we'll head on to the um, ADF page. How can we check that? So in the last video, I have shown you how to create a data factory, how to create a storage account. So with the help of free trial, we get a free trial of 30 days. And with the help of that free trial subscription, how to create a data factory, how to create a storage account, I have shown you. So what we will do today is we'll create a basic copy activity. We'll create a data set and pipeline. And from the copy activity, we will move a CSV file from the same storage account from one folder to another folder. We can create multiple storage accounts also. For our practice purpose, what we will do is in the same storage account, we will create two different files, two different containers or two different folders, and we will copy from one folder to the another folder. So get an idea, whenever we try to log in Azure portal, we need to follow certain instances. I mean, to get an idea unless how an Azure portal works. So for every time, as I've said in the previous video, the subscription is at the topmost level, resource group, the after subscription, and all other services in that particular resource. So whenever you're trying to search any of the services, if at all many services are created, yeah, there would be a mess. So you can directly search that service. But to get an idea, to get an hands-on on Azure portal, every time you first search for subscription, the hierarchy, you should follow that hierarchy. After subscription, resource group. So if you in the free trial, I mean, as we are using the free trial, you only get that subscription available here. If you go to free trial, you might find all other resources and what all we have. So if you go to resource group here, so in that subscription there is a resource group called as KSR Datavizon. So this is the resource group. Under this, there are these many services. A kind of SQL server. In the SQL server, we have a SQL database. We have created a storage account. We have created a data factory, and we have also created a key vault. So basically, the key vault, I mean, what exactly key vault is, it stores the secret. We will have a different session or a video on the exact usage of key vault, how to store the secret accesses, secret user accounts and passwords there, and how to access them. So for now, we are using the data factory. We will open the data factory here. So how exactly a data factory is? Once you open this, you would get a launch studio option available here. Once you click on launch studio, you can see all, I mean, it's a part of which resource group, subscription ID is available, what type of subscription is it. And if you go to access control, there are many options available towards the left ribbon. You can minimize that ribbon also. So if you check here, you can find properties. So here you can find the resource ID, managed identity, object ID, identity tenant. So for every resource, there is a tenant. The every I mean resource or every service which you create in the Azure portal, there is a tenant associated with that. It's a kind of a unique identification tenant. This It's a kind of unique identification. It is a GUID data format, GUID GUID data format. There is an also option available for an access control. You can check, I mean, what type of access you have for this particular data factory. So as I have created, I am the administrator here, service administrator. I can grant access to the same data factory to multiple people also. If you click here, you can search the names. So as of now, this for free trial, this is created. I mean, this isn't shared with any of them. You cannot find any names. But yeah, I mean, if you share that subscription to the multiple people, if that subscription is accessed by multiple people, you can search their name and you can grant access. As I'm the only, I mean, I've created a free trial and I'm using the service administrator. I mean, I've created the own service, so I'm the service administrator here. So we have already opened this launch studio. It opens in this way. In last video, as I said, there are 5 different tabs available here: the home tab, author tab, monitor, manage, and learning center. So our most of the work would be in author tab only. Author tab is the one where we create pipelines, data sets, link services, and data flows also. So we would have a different session on data flow. What exactly a data flow is? It's a completely low code, no code process where there isn't any coding. You have to create a graphical representation, data sets, a graphical representation like KPI, sorry, the sources and the transformations there. There you won't have to write anything. Many options are predefinedly available. Just you can compare it with the Power Query. The in Power BI, how a Power Query is, where you can load and transform the data and you can merge, append, join, pivot, and unpivot data. So data flows are somewhat like that. But it would do the a kind of ETL process there. You can join the data, you can merge the data, you can append the data. So that is how the data flows work. For now, this video we will focus on what exactly a data set, what exactly a link service is. So for first, what we will do is we'll try to create a temporary pipeline. So you can name a pipeline, whatever name you want, be data activity or pipeline. So you might have observed I have given underscores here, copy underscore data underscore pipeline. So you can give a space also, but this is a standard process. If you go to any of the organization, rather than spacing, you can use underscores, just because you will get an idea. I mean, once we will be doing or we'll be creating a link service won't accept any spaces between the names given. So to get an idea, I mean, to get a used to or a standard practices, don't use spaces in any of the words. Use underscores, or the best way is using underscores. So many of the link services, many of the data set won't accept the spaces. So there you have to give underscores only. So the best practice or the standard practice in any of the organization is use underscores. So we have used copy underscore data underscore pipeline. This is by defaultly, I mean, once you create a new pipeline here, a pipeline new, so you would get these options here. The option are more actions. I mean, monitor, clone, you can clone the existing existing pipeline, you can rename the pipeline, you can move this pipeline, you can export and template, you can download the support files, or else you can use you can delete the pipeline also. The second is the properties. So we are in the properties itself. You can give a description, whatever description. For now we have created a copy activity. We only know we are only creating a single pipeline, so we can know. If there are multiple pipelines, then yeah, description is must to get an idea what exactly the pipeline is doing. And towards left of properties, you would get a JSON file here. So whatever we do in the ADF, or what pipelines we are doing, so it automatically takes that code. The ADF is smart enough to get that code everything in JSON format. So this JSON format is useful whenever we are trying to copy, or whenever trying to create a same pipeline in other ADF. I mean, you can clone an ADF here. There is an option directly. You can clone that ADF pipeline, but in the same data factory. But if you want to move, or if you want to create same pipeline in different data factory, which is a part of different resource group, which is a part of different subscription, there this JSON comes into picture. You can copy this JSON activity and paste it there. It would copy everything there. I mean, prior to that, you have to create certain connections and data sets. Then only it would take that connection details. But yeah, this is the basic use of JSON. You can copy it, and you can directly give that JSON format in the other data factory, which is a part of different subscription and resource group. So moving over to, you can remove or you can minimize that. So what we are going to do is, we are trying to create a simple copy activity. There are multiple activities. There is an activity pane available towards the left. You can see there are multiple activities available here. If you want to maximize all of them, this option is available. You can maximize all of them, what all activities we have. You can directly search an activity here. For now, we are using normal copy activity, where we would copy a data from the storage account, from one folder of storage account to the another folder of storage account. So once this copy activity, you have drag and drop. The ADF works in drag and drop format. You need to drag that copy activity here. You can directly drag that. You can see the both copy activities. As we have created same copy activity, it would automatically detect copy activity data 1, copy activity data 2. For now, we only need one activity. Can minimize this tab. So once this copy activity is available, if you hover or if you click on any side apart from the activity, you would find there are 4 different tabs available. One is parameter. Parameters are nothing but a kind of wherever we want to pass a parameter, or a dynamic value, there you can use a parameter. Variables are nothing but a kind of dynamic value only, but variables are used at a runtime. There is an option called as setting. You can use the concurrency, you can elapsed time metric, and there's an option called as output. So what is the output of this activity? These 4 options are available if you click on the white part, or apart from activity. Once you click on activity, the activity details would be available here. So for every activity, you would get this general tab by defaultly available. As this is a copy activity, you might also see source, sync, mapping. Mapping is nothing but you can map column, which column you want and to which column you want to map it. If you consider a table from a source, and you want to get that table from a source and copy it to the, or sync it to the target, you can create a mapping for this column, for a column in source, and if a column in target, it should map the data. You can the ADF automatically maps it. If you want to change any mapping, yeah, you can import schemas and change the mapping. There's a setting tab available here, fault tolerance, degree of copy parallelism. So these are all options available in settings tab, and there's an user properties option available here. So our primary focus would be in these 4 options: the general, source, sync, and mapping. So in general, you can name or you can change the activity name here. So what we are doing is copy underscore CSV underscore blob. The blob is nothing but a storage account. You can write a description what exactly this activity or this pipeline is for. So pipeline might have a single activity or multiple activities combined together. Not exactly, every time a pipeline would have more than one activity. For one activity also, you can call it as a pipeline. So there's an option called as active state, whether is it active or inactive. You can active or inactive it. This is one of the latest introduction or latest upgrade in ADF. There is a timeout option available here. So these are milliseconds, these are minutes. These are seconds, minutes, hours, and days. So in days also you can set a timeout. If you want, if this copy activity fails, if you want to retry the same activity, you can enter the retries here. You can enter 1, 2, or 3, whatever retries you want, or else 0 is the by default option available here. Retry interval. So interval is nothing but once this copy activity ran for 6 minutes and it failed, for after 30 seconds, if you have put a retry, after 30 seconds it would retry again. So how many number of retries you have put, the number of time it would run, between every interval there would be a 30 seconds gap. So there's an option for secure output and secure input. You can click that. It would be secured, a kind of encryption like service, but our primary focus would be on these concepts only. Whatever we have, we would not use any retry, we would not use any retry interval. Going forward, whenever we create complex activities, when we felt, I mean, where we felt that this activity might fail due to certain circumstances, there we can give a retry and retry intervals also. So we will head over to source. So for now, what our source would be, a kind of CSV file from a storage account. So what we will do is we'll open the storage account. Here we would again follow the same process. First, we would search subscription, the highest hierarchy, I mean the topmost in the hierarchy, subscription. After subscription, if you scroll it down, there's a resource group available here, resource group. And in resource group, you find all these services. So KSR practice storage, this is the storage account. We will open this. We'll go to containers. So in containers only you can find what all folders we have and what all files we have kept in that folders. So this is the basic a kind of folder we have created here. We'll go to containers, a KSR practice test, a kind of folder I have created. I'll try to delete it and I'll create a new folder here. Yeah, new container, KSR. So see, as I'm typing it in caps, the name may only contain lowercase. So at certain instances or certain places, there are some restrictions. So you have to follow that. Here only it accepts the small letters. KSR practice storage source. You can enter source. So this container would act as a source. Public access, you can keep it public or private or kind of blob or container service also. So by defaultly, whatever is selected will keep as it is. Advanced options not at all available. There aren't any options available as of now. They are blacked out. These are available in the premium versions. For now, what we have did is we have created a standard storage account. So you can minimize it, you'll create it. So once this is created, you can find a folder. A container is created. A container is nothing but a kind of folder here in storage account. So we'll create another storage where it would be KSR practice storage target. So what we are going to do in this copy activity is source would be this container and target would be this container. So from this container to this container in the same storage account, we are going to move a file. There might be circumstances or there might be multiple aspects where we have to move from one storage account to another storage account, where we have to move from SQL to from one SQL to another. Kind not only same source and target, you can move it from SQL to storage account, you can move it from storage account to SQL, you can move it from Azure Data Explorer, that is nothing but a custo. It's a kind of database developed or used by Microsoft only. So you can use multiple sources are available. They might be heterogeneous. Not every time source and sink would be same. For now, our practice purpose to get an idea how a copy activity works, how what exactly a link service is, how to create a link service, how to create a data set, we are going to do this activity. So we have already created these two containers. So what we will do is in this container, we will upload a certain file, a kind of CSV file which we need to move. You can move that CSV file data. So this CSV file I have export. There is an option called as overwrite if file already exists. As we have already created this container, a new container, there isn't any file. So even if you click it, there won't be any option. If that file is already available, it would automatically detect there. So how it would detect that would also I will help you. First, we'll upload it directly. The file is already uploaded, and again we will use the same option, browse the file and export. If you open this, yeah, the following file already exists. You can click it, you can overwrite it. If you don't want to overwrite, it won't accept. If you want to overwrite, it would overwrite. So it would, I mean, it would give you an idea. It would give you an intimation that the file which you are trying to look is, it's already available. Or else if you want to overlap, you can click on that overlap. So this file size is 278 bytes. It's a kind of blob. It's a CSV file, .csv file. What exactly this file contains? Yeah, this file contains, you can see basic data, a kind of table structure. So we'll head over to here. This we have kept in source, and in target we won't keep anything just because we are trying to move from source to target. So we will go to the data factory in source dataset. So it would ask for dataset, sync and source. So dataset is nothing but a kind of storage where it would store the structure of a source in a cache format. To, I mean, if you are trying to pull a data from a source, that the source structure, I mean the data or the structure, I mean the source, I mean what type of table it is, how the structure is it, so that would be stored in this source data set. Connect that source data set to the source, we need to have a link service. So we'll first create a source data set. So what exactly, there are multiple data sets available here. We by defaultly are on all option. If you go to Azure, if you go to database, if you go to file, generic protocol, NoSQL, services and apps, there are multiple options available. So we have to connect it to the blob storage, Azure blob storage. Click on continue. So here it would ask what type of file is it. Is it a binary file? Is it a delimited text? Is it a paraquet? Is it an XML, JSON, Avro, Excel? So this is a kind of CSV file. You can, is it a binary? I mean, you can keep, you can select it as a CSV file here, delimited text, or else you can select an Excel. But in case of Excel, it should be .xls file. It would read better, but we have a CSV file. We will select the delimited text. Click on continue. If you go back, this is for data set. And if you, once you select that, you can name that data set. So we will create that data set. We are copying, we are trying to copying it from KSR Datavizon storage. So it would be source data blob connection. So here we haven't used any spaces here. So now the concept of underscore, which I have told at the start of the video, there it comes into picture. So if you use underscore, there won't be any issues here also. Just it would separate out the data, and it would be easy to read. I mean, a kind of readable format rather than writing everything without any spaces. But if you use a space here, yeah, it would throw an error. So only certain letters, numbers, or underscores are allowed for creating any data set or renaming or naming a data set. You have selected CSV file, you have named that data set. To get that data from a particular source, you need to have a link service. So link service is nothing but a connection string. So there isn't any link service created. There is option called as first row as header. It is by defaultly selected. So in CSV files, you might have seen this file, we haven't used any header. So most of the files in, I mean, the ADF is smart enough that in CSV files, most of the files, most of the sources, it the first row won't be available as a header. So it assumes that you need to get first row as header. You can create a new link service, Azure blob storage one. So what we are doing is we will simplify it. So the standard practice here is, whenever you create a link service, by default name is available. But to get an idea to which connection, I mean, what type of connection is it, or to which source is it connecting, you can use that. So our source is KSR practice storage, this storage account. So what we will do is, we will name it that way, KSR practice storage, and it is a kind of source link service. You can write a description for which you have created, have created for connecting CSR practice storage source file or a container. Here, now connection via integration runtime. There is a concept called as integration runtime. So integration runtime, this I would cover in a different video. What exactly IRs, I mean, what exactly IR is. In the basic introduction of ADF, I might have already covered this, the what exactly an integration runtime and what type of integration runtimes are are available. So there are three different types that I would cover in a different video. How are they useful and how can we use them to improve the performance or to get a live data, kind of live data or runtime data. For now, it is auto resolve integration runtime, which is by defaultly selected. The second option is authentication type. So here we have many options. We have anonymous, we have account key, we have SaaS URI, we have service principal, we have system assigned managed identity, and user assigned managed identity. So our primary focus here is on account key and service principal, two of them only. So what account key is nothing but where you have to pass the account key, the key of the storage account or source. And service principal, in case of service principal is nothing but a unique id where you can create that service principal in Azure Active Directory. Azure Active Directory is a different service in Azure portal itself, where without any account key, I mean, you cannot share account key with multiple people, but you can share that unique principal id, where, I mean, with the help of Active Directory which we create, you can share that principal id to many people together. I mean, account key cannot be given to thousands of people. I mean, it's a kind of data violation issue. But in case of service principal, you can share it with thousands of people in the company or any of the stakeholders. Also, you can directly, I mean, clients also directly access that service principal. So we will create a different video how exactly to create a service principal in Azure Active Directory and call them. But for now, we are using account key, which is by default option available here. So once you scroll down, there are two different options available here. One is connection string and one is Azure Key Vault. So for every link service, you can connect it with connection string directly. And if you if you want to connect it with using Azure Key Vault, so the Azure Key Vault service is where we have to give a link service again. So it would again connect to this link service. I mean, the storage account link service, it would again connect to the Key Vault link service. So this is a different concept. For now, what we will do is we will go ahead with the connection string, which is by default. And in connection string also, once you select that, there are two options available here. One is from Azure subscription directly. So the ADF link service is smart enough to get the Azure subscription there. What all subscriptions we have? For now, only one subscription, that is free trial. You can get that subscription and it directly gets the storage account here. We don't have to pass any key also, as we are administrator. The ADF is smart enough to get that you are only administrator and you directly have an access to this storage account or this service created. So it would automatically take that connection. You can test that connection here. Connection is successful. But if you want to check it, enter manually. So it would ask you the storage account. So what exactly is the storage account we have created? This is the storage account name. You can give that storage account name here, and it would ask for storage account key. So key can be given in two ways again here. Same like connection string, which we were moving to the Azure Key Vault. You can directly pass that storage account key, the blob key. While creation of storage account only, we might have given that key. This you can directly pass. It would be in encrypted format only, and there is an option called as Azure Key Vault. So Key Vault, I mean, how does a Key Vault acts here? How can we store secrets in Key Vault? That I'll cover in a separate video. What exactly a Key Vault? We will try to create a Key Vault service from the start, and then we will add few certain secrets there, and you can access that Key Vault direct. So Key Vault is nothing but where you don't have to share that password and username to every user. He can directly access that Key Vault, and that secret can be called here directly. So for now, we will select storage account key. This storage account key, you can enter that key here directly. So what is the storage account key what we have created? You can enter that. You can get that storage account key if you go here, access keys. So for every storage account, we have a certain connection string and key here. This is the key and connection string. You can copy it. Yeah, so this key. How to access that keys? There is towards the left pane. If you are in this KSR storage practice, if towards the left pane, if you scroll down and security and networking, this tab, there is an option called as access key. So every service has an access key available here. Whenever you try to create a service, this access key is by default created, and there will be two keys by defaultly generated. So two key, this ADF is smart enough to create two keys directly. It is by default option. you won't have to, I mean, you don't need to select that. It would be creating two keys separately. You can also mention, I mean, set rotation reminder. You can set a rotation reminder also. So two keys are not same. If you check the keys also here, they're kind of different. You can key, I mean, you can use any of the key. I've used the first key. Let's see, we can use the second key or not. So it is an encryption format. You cannot see anything. This is also successful. So either you can use storage account key or else Azure Key Vault. And at the start, as I've said, we have moved to enter manually. If you want to enter that key, you can enter that manually, or else if you directly have a subscription and service access, you can directly connect it. So for now, what we will do is from Azure subscription, we will create the storage source link service. This is, we will recheck it again. Yeah, this is done. So you can pass parameters, you can pass, there is a certain advanced settings also, dynamic JSON files or JSON parameters you can directly pass here. But for now, we are only focusing on the basic concept. We will create it. This is created. So once this is created, you would get an option called as file path. You can browse it, source, and this is the one. So it takes file path, what type of directory. So there isn't any directory available here. File path is KSR practice storage, and it directly goes to this CSV file. So import schema from connection store directly or from sample file. You can write that sample file name also, or none is also available. But for connection stores, as we have given the connection, we need to select the from connection store, click on OK. So this is done. So you can see that CSV linked service and sorry, the CSV data set is created. And for this data set, what is link service? If you click on this, this would open in this way. This is the data set and this is the link service. These are data set connection details. This is comma delimiter. There are certain, I mean, there are multiple options available here. This is the link service. If you want to again edit this link service, you can click on edit. You can check. You can test connection here also. So we have used this export CSV. You can preview the data. You might have seen this data. So you can preview this data here. So preview is only for certain records only you can see. If there are lakhs or millions of records, you can see only few records. As we only have five records. So you can see all 5 records here. We will, whenever you make a change, you would see a publish all option available here. So publish all, what it will do is it will publish the changes which we have done. So it is giving an error. Okay, so we might have not passed the sync. So this you can publish one, you cannot publish one at a time. So if you're trying to make multiple data sources, data sets, the source and sync, you need to create all and you can publish all together. So in sync also we will create, I mean, you can see directly see the data source is available, but this is for source connection. If you want to change it to the target, Azure blob storage. So what type of CSV, I mean, what type of file you want in target? You want it in CSV or you want it in binary? So we'll use a CSV file only. Here we would write target underscore data underscore blob underscore connection. So for this storage, this link service is created for source. You can create a new link service. You can use that same link service also, but it would mess. I mean, it would go to the source only from same folder to same folder. Rather, to avoid that, even though we are in the same storage account, you can create a different link service. So different link service, it would be KSR practice blob target connection. So as I've said, if you write everything without any space or underscore, you won't get, it would be a bit confusing. So we would use underscores. So here the spelling has changed, blob. You can write a description. Same process, account key, Azure subscription. So here in the source, we have used Azure subscription, but we would use enter manually here. Storage account is KSR practice. So this I have an idea because I've created it, but to get an idea, you can directly copy that data source. So this view here has changed to access keys, but ideally this should be a storage account. We have navigated it to the access keys, so that is the reason the view has changed here. I mean, the small, I mean, the kind of image or the PNG format of image have changed here. Can copy it, enter there. Here we would use the account key. We would go to shared keys, access keys again. You can use any of the key as I've shown you. Copy to clipboard, enter, is created. So again, here you have to select to which container you want to dump that target. Yeah, we have selected KSR practice storage target. As the file is not available, we are trying to move that file only, CSV file. You only have to select the folder. Same import schema would be from connection store. Click on OK. So this is done. There are multiple options available here. You can limit that CSV file. You can limit the rows per byte file. But as of now, it's a kind of normal file. We won't do any changing. You can use an import schema. So import schema works when there are both, I mean, source and destination tables both are available. So in destination, we don't have table. We are directly ingesting it. You can use this import schema, but this import schema would give you these type of conditions. So how it would look like, this is source, this is destination, and what is a data type. So you can click here. You want all these columns. Even though you don't import this, you can clear it. The ADF is smart enough to copy everything. Mapping is not by defaultly, I mean, by default need to be chosen. But if there are, see, we only have 5 columns here. Sorry, yeah, 5 columns: name, ID, pin code, country, and region. But in case we have around 10 columns, and when we are only focusing or we are only copying the data of 5 columns, so there this mapping concept comes into picture. You can only map those columns which you want from source to destination. You can preview source also, what type of data we have. For now, we do, I mean, I have shown you, but for now, we will clear it. It would directly run. So now you can publish 3. So publish 3 is, this is pipeline. There are 2 data sets, and for these 2 data sets, source and target, we have also created link services. So you can publish it. So publishing is nothing but it would save whatever changes or whatever new creation you have made to the Azure Data Factory cloud account. Yeah, you can see here. There was an error because we haven't used or we haven't created a link service connection there. So once this is done, there are few options available here towards left. This is pipeline. In datasets, you can see the dataset. This is the dataset, and if you click on that, every dataset has a link service connection. You can test it or you can edit it. So this is how a data service and link service is created. We will run this activity. So there is an option called as validate. You can validate it. If there are any errors, it would give you certain idea. I mean, that is not correctly created or that is not correctly, the approach is something wrong. For now, it's a basic activity. I haven't validated anything. The debug option, it would run on real time or at the current instance. So this was a small activity. It ran in 12 seconds. So what we will do is we will go to resource group again. We will open the KSR storage practice. We'll go to containers. We will see if that file has been copied. In source, you can get the CSV. So copy here is nothing but it won't take the file from the source. It would only copy that, I mean, the data present in that file. You can go back and target, you can see that CSV file. So this is the CSV file. You can download it also. So this is the basic introduction of link service. What exactly a link service is, what exactly a data set is. So data set, it's a kind of storage where it would store the complete source and target, a kind of cache like or table like structure. And to get that structure from the source or to connect it with the target, you need to have a connection strings that are nothing but link services. So this is the basic link service and connection string. The link service connection string or a data set is. Yeah, for this session, that's all. We will again connect for multiple other sessions like key vaults, what exactly how to use parameters. Thank you.